Doing very well. Good morning.
Good, good. Let's rewind a little bit to before, basically to the Pens game. Would you consider that? Now I know you're in your first season, your biggest regular season win since you became Caps head coach. You had a 4-game skid heading in. You're facing your biggest rival and division opponent on the road, national TV game. Sid versus Ovi, both teams with 40 points heading into the game. You get out of Pittsburgh with the 4-3 win. Congrats on that. Is that your biggest regular season notch so far?
It's definitely up there. I think we had some probably that what was surrounding the game was probably as big as we've gotten. We've had some character, some tough wins, whether it was Vegas at home, some games like that. The Rangers game at home a few weeks ago, I thought we played really well, but the circumstance surrounding the Pitt game with, like you said, us going in, the rivalry, all that stuff. Our game as it unfolded, as you know, getting up early, first period was excellent, and then the second and third, not ideal, but we did enough to hang on and did some good things in the third period to protect that 1-goal lead once they got it right back. So it was good.
And, Coach, a pretty big side note there. We have to all, and I don't mean just Caps and Pens fans, I mean all hockey fans, you have to cherish these Ovi and Sid matchups because we don't know how many more of them we're going to have at this point because these guys, they're not youngsters that just got drafted into the league anymore. We've got to cherish the ones that we have left.
Mm-hmm. You're 100% right, and we almost take it for granted sometimes because when you're in the moment and watching it, you just think it's going to go on for your lifetime, and it'll always be like that. But then when it's gone, you always reflect back and God, I miss those matchups and those games and how many years they went back and forth and the ability of both guys and leading their teams and the rivalry. So I couldn't agree more. And sometimes it's hard to take a step back and think about that and really try to cherish, like you said, the games that they do play because they are, you can tell it means a little bit more in those games and you can feel it just standing on the bench in my shoes.
Then you had to play the back-to-backer and play the Devils here. I know you guys got in late that night. We talked to Stromer yesterday.
Yeah.
He said he got in about 2 a.m. Those back-to-backers are tough, even though you guys have been pretty good in that spot. But you couldn't start Lindgren. He's got an upper body. He was placed on the injured reserve, I think, Wednesday. I think that's what I read.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how long he's going to be out. And, of course, you had to start Hunter Shepard in that game against the Devils. And, it's a tough spot for a young guy like him.
Yeah, and usually in those spots, and part of the reason that we've had success in those spots is you're going to need your goaltending to bail you out a little bit
right.
in those back-to-back, especially when you're playing against a fresh team where they've got tons of legs and tons of energy. And so Shep wasn't his best. So it made it a little bit more challenging for us. Excuse me. Do I think we still had a shot in that game? For sure. But Jersey as well, they're a good young team, and you can see the young talent that's coming that's going to be there for years to come. And so that makes it even more challenging when you're playing against a team that's real young and fast and can move. It really stresses you from a defensive standpoint, and you could tell going back through the film and seeing our guys try to close and try to do things defensively that normally were in good spots. We were chasing it a lot against our team. Specifically to Chucky, I think he's getting closer. He's not going to play tonight or dress tonight, but I think after that there's some potential for him to start getting into game action.
It says he's eligible to come off on Sunday against LA. Is that something that you're hoping?
Yeah, I don't know if he'll be able to achieve that yet, but
okay.
I do know he's progressing in the right direction with skating and all that. I just don't know when, if he'll be available against LA.
Coach Carb, some new young talent, a fresh face on the Caps. Ethan Bear gets on the scoring sheet in the win over the Pens. He assisted on Willie's goal. Can you get the listeners and some of the hosts here, myself included, up to speed on Bear? He's the new addition, just made the Caps debut in late December. He should provide some nice depth to that defensive core for you.
Yeah, young defenseman. He's been in a few organizations in Edmonton, started his career and sort of bounced around Carolina, Vancouver, but we feel like he's still young enough and went through some injury stuff with his shoulder, and that's why he missed the first half of the season. We commit a 2-year deal to him, so definitely think that there's some potential there of a young defenseman that still has some room to grow into being an everyday and a solid NHL defenseman on a winning team. And that's as far as his skill set, he's an undersized, really good skater, has good instincts, like can make a play in a tight area, can find shot lanes. So that's what sort of intrigues us about that. And then it'll be just the defending part and being able to, play against other teams' top 6, top 2 lines and be able to defend at a high level. If he can continue to grow in that area, I think he's got a good chance.
So another new face, at least to the Caps, but this guy's a veteran, Max Pacioretty, a.k.a. Patches. He made his debut in the loss to the Devils, played in his first game in nearly a year after coming back from an Achilles tear. He was pretty tough on himself post-game. His quote was, "It probably couldn't get any worse than it did for me." Is this a spot where you or an assistant coach pulls him aside and tells him not to beat himself up too much, that it's one game, there are better days ahead, or you just let him work his way through it because he's a vet, he's played in a ton of high-pressure NHL games? How do you navigate that?
Yeah, I think more the latter, and I'll talk to him a little bit today with yesterday being off, but he knows, and I know that with a young player, it might affect him going into the next game, and he might be down and lose a little bit of confidence. But for Max, I don't worry about that at all. He knows, and him and I have talked, it's going to be a process coming back. He's not 25 years old. He's 35. He's missed a lot of hockey. He's jumping into an NHL season mid-season where everybody's in mid-season form, and it's not just like snapping your fingers and, okay, I'm going to be playing at a real high level. You ideally hope that, but it's just not realistic. So we know it's going to be a process. I know it's going to be a process, and he'll the maturity level and all his years of experience will help him through this as he just builds his game back to the level that he's capable of.
So talk about tonight. It's not a must-win, obviously, but it's the division game. Friday Night Lights should be packed at home. You guys have lost 5 of 6. You need something to go right here. And Carolina's won 4 straight, and they've scored 19 goals in those 4 games, 3 of them on the road against good teams like the Rangers and the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
So talk about Carolina and prepping for them tonight.
Yeah, we're in a tough stretch here, and it's only going to get more difficult with tonight specifically, and even moving forward. So this is essentially our test right here. Is this next stretch of games for our group is if we're going to be able to contend and be one of the top teams in the NHL, this is going to be our test for the year. And it sort of has started already, but this is no different tonight. Carolina's playing at a real high level, fantastic team, and gives you all sorts of issues from which you touched on, the scoring perspective, their forecheck pressure, and the way that they defend. Their top 6 are elite in this league on their back end, 1 through 6, with Orley being added to the mix, and Brady Shea and Jacob Slavin and all those guys. So Brett Burns as well. So we know what we're going to need. It's going to need to be our best moving forward, and tonight is a good test for us and an opportunity for us to show it.
We're joined by Washington Capitals head coach Spencer Carbery. So props to Tom Wilson for getting the nod to his second All-Star game of his career. Very cool that it's being held in his hometown of Toronto, so that's nice. A well-deserved honor for Willie. Nice touch by you and the Caps, too, having Tom's dad deliver that news to Tom in front of the entire team in the locker room. That was a cool scene.
Yeah, it was great, and this is the first time he's been named. If you remember last time, he was a fill-in. I can't remember if it was for O or someone, and still a huge honor to be named after the fact. But now this being named in the initial group, being picked as an all-star by the league, it's a pretty cool deal and a huge accomplishment for Willie. And he's already had a ton in his career of achievements, individual achievements, along with team achievements, and really proud of him. And I think it's pretty cool too when you think about the way that he plays and the type of player he is to be recognized by the rest of the league, peers, management, the league in general, fans around the world. What an honor. Like the way that he plays the game and to be an all-star and a bit of a throwback player, but plays for his teammates, plays the right way, can score, can do it all. It's pretty impressive.
Coach Carbs, 3 power play goals in the last 2 games. Caps have climbed to 25th in the NHL now in power play goals. In your last 11, 8 for 29. That's almost a 28% clip, and it's been the second power play unit that's been a huge part of that. Yeah,
the Young Bucks are doing a great job, and they're driving those PP numbers, like you said. The McMichaels of the world, Protas, Anthony Mantha, have done a really good job of finding ways to contribute even in that sort of secondary time that they get coming out over the boards after our first unit. So it continues to be a work in progress, but I love the fact that they're pushing the envelope, and that now you look at last game, it puts me in a spot where you want to put them out there. So halfway in, a minute into a power play, it's not automatic that the first unit stays out there. It's no, we're rolling with the second unit now. Come on off, guys, and let them go to work and do their thing, and they're being rewarded for it and getting the job done and getting results.
Coach Carbs, thanks again for joining us on Game Day. Best of luck against the Canes tonight and the Kings on Sunday. Thanks again. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, have a great day, guys.
All right, buddy. Good luck.
You too. That's head coach Spencer Carbery.